I feel like Grand Seiko is like the overachievers in the class, while other companies are just experimenting with ceramic bezels. Grand Seiko just shits on them. Hello everybody, welcome back to Phil Watches. I'm Phil, and today I have the pleasure of introducing the SBGE Grand Seiko 255 to you guys. So if you close your eyes and just imagine everything you want in a GMT watch, this watch will probably be it. So in this video, I'm going to give you my thoughts and prayers about this watch, and maybe at the end, I'll compare it to my Rolex Explorer 2 to see which one is the better watch. So stick around. If you're enjoying this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really means a lot to a small channel like this. Thanks, man. So Grand Seiko is no stranger to the GMT game. When you think of Grand Seiko GMT, you probably think of the SBGE221, which has a cream dial and is a beauty of a watch. But if that watch is a beauty, then this watch would be the beast, because it's the younger brother of the SBGE201. It packs a ton of cool features, plus they reduced the size to make it more wearable for plebs like you and me. Alright, so let's get the specs out of the deck. So this watch has a 40.5mm case. It has a sapphire crystal with AR coating, a stainless steel case and bracelet, and an in-house spring drive movement. Let's talk about the lovely spring drive movement. It's using the 9R66, and it's the John Cena movement because you can't see it due to the display case back. But I've been always a big fan of the spring drive, being willing to innovate and come with something that is the best of mechanical and quartz. The second hand is super mesmerizing, like me of course. And like all spring drive movements, it only loses a couple seconds per week. And for me, it's losing about 2 seconds every 2 weeks. So it's kind of crazy. And they also have a 72 hours of power reserve. One thing I wish they did to make the spring drive second hand a different color. I think it's very nice when they do that. For example, in the snowflake, it's more pleasing to look at. The design team of Grand Seiko really knocked it out of the park with this one. I think the gripe I have with previous Grand Seiko watches, like the Snowflake, is that they have no lume. But this watch, while still maintaining the zaratsu polish on the indices, it also added some lume to give it extra legibility in the dark. So there are 3 models, and I chose the blue color because the blue is kind of like my Mark 18. It's a sunburst blue, and I'm sucker for that. It's a little darker though, but it connects well with the rest of the layout on the dial. The hands remind me of Tag Formula 1 hands. It's filled with lume and it gives it a very sporty, even race car-like. So let's talk about the case a little bit. It has a 40.5mm diameter, a 20mm lug width, a 14.7mm thickness, and a 48.5mm lug to lug. So I think it's nice that Grand Seiko chose to slim this down from a 44mm to a 40.5, right? But I wish they could have done something with the thickness as well. Because with almost 15mm thickness, it's still a hefty watch. And if you are a person that likes, those hefty watches, you're a monster. Yeah, you are. And being a sports watch, I feel like the slimmer, the better. The lug to lug is comfortable even on my small 6¼ inch chopstick wrist. It looks balanced and secure. The 20mm lug width also allows you to change straps very easily. So it's very added feature to the watch. So the bezel is definitely my favorite part of this watch. The blue and white ceramic bezel matches perfectly with the blue and white in the dial. There's also an added inner bezel to improve, the GMT reading when at an angle. The font of the numbers are super legible and stylish. I wish they used the same font on the date wheel. However, that would be too much to ask for, I guess. And speaking of the date wheel, it's located at 8 o'clock, Some people hate it. I don't have a preference. I don't really notice it until I need it. And I like dates on my watches, and in real life, of course. And because I prefer them over other complications, like moon phase. Like, when will you need that? When? Are you an astronomy teacher or something? So the bracelet and clasp of the Grand Seiko is where they have their shortcomings. So there's no on-the-fly adjustment, and the clasp is nothing out of the ordinary. So I like to see some improvements, maybe on the later models. But design-wise, I think it fits the watch very well. The polish center and the side links goes with the polish of the watch, and it looks very uniform, like a Chinese army. So this watch is about 6.2K new and around 5K in the used market. I feel like for the price it's justified because you're getting a ceramic bezel, you're getting an in-house spring drive movement, you're getting zaratsu polishing, and also it's a GMT function, right? From Grand Seiko. So I feel like it's a good price for it. Alright, so I feel like at the price, this watch would be a banger if only it was a few millimeters thinner, right? Because at 15, it's kind of big and slows you down. For sport watches, I wear my watches to run. So I usually run about, 30 miles in 5 minutes, but wearing this watch, it took me a minute longer. So you have to take that into consideration. Also, the date location is at the 4 o'clock. Not many people like that. How does this compare to my Explorer 2? Well, just spec-wise, it blows it out of the park. Because there's absolutely no comparison. It's more advanced watch from the movement, having 72 hours and it's more accurate, to the finishing with the zaratsu polish and the diamond cut indices, right? However, on the wearability aspect, I'll stick with the, Explorer 2 because it's just thinner at 12 millimeters, and it also have a lot of history and love. It feels lighter on the wrist, and it makes me happy to be a Rolex Chad. Again, if it's not wearable, it's kind of terrible, but I'm no rapper. Alright, thanks for watching, and comment in the video below if you were to pick a GMT watch, which one will you pick? Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe.